Hippo, the river giant of quiet power. In the warm shallows of African rivers, where reeds sway gently and dragonflies dance above the surface, a pair of ears peeks out from the water, then come two eyes, nostrils, and a low bubbling grunt. What looks like a rock turns into a beast, not just any beast, but the hippopotamus, the third largest land mammal on Earth and one of nature's most mysterious giants. The word hippopotamus comes from ancient Greek, meaning river horse, but the hippo is no horse. It's more like a living tank, broad, heavy, and impossible to ignore. Adult hippos can weigh between 3,000 to 4,000 pounds. Yet, despite their size, they move through the water with surprising grace, gliding effortlessly beneath the surface, as if the river were made for them. Most people know hippos for their size and strange appearance: barrel-shaped bodies, huge jaws, stubby legs, dense skin that seems too thick to belong to anything living. But there's far more to these creatures than their looks. The hippo is a paradox: slow but fast, gentle but dangerous, comical but commanding. And the more we learn about them, the more we realize that hippos are not only powerful, they're deeply fascinating. Though they live in water, hippos aren't fish, and they aren't fully aquatic either. In fact, they're more closely related to whales and dolphins than to pigs or cows. Millions of years ago, their ancestors split from the same evolutionary line as whales, which may explain why hippos are so at home in the water. They can hold their breath for up to 5 minutes and sleep underwater, automatically surfacing to breathe without waking their eyes, ears, and nostrils are positioned high on their heads so they can stay almost completely submerged and still be alert. But once the sun sets and the air cools, hippos leave the water and begin their secret life on land. At night, these massive creatures walk silently through grasslands, sometimes traveling miles to graze on fresh grass. They eat up to 80 pounds of vegetation in a single night. Despite their bulk, they walk with surprising quietness, their wide feet spreading their weight like natural snowshoes. In the water, hippos are social. They live in groups called pods, often led by a dominant male. These pods can include a dozen or more females and young, resting and swimming together all day. They grunt, snort, bellow, and splash, communicating through sound, scent, and body posture. But there's a pecking order, and conflicts can arise when males fight. It's not subtle. Their jaws open nearly 180 degrees, revealing tusk-like teeth that can crush bone. The water churns and thunderous roars echo across the river, but most of the time things are calm, peaceful even. Hippos spend up to 16 hours a day in water, basking in the coolness, hiding from the harsh sun. And here's an odd fact: hippos produce their own sunscreen. Their skin secretes a reddish fluid that looks like blood, is actually a natural moisturizer and sunblock. This sweat protects them from overheating and infection. It's one of nature's clever tricks, a built-in lotion for the world's most unlikely sunbather. But don't let their lazy appearance fool you. Despite their bulk and sleepy expressions, hippos are fast, especially when they feel threatened. On land, they can run up to 30 kilometers per hour in short bursts. In water, they can charge like torpedoes along the riverbed, using their powerful legs to launch themselves forward. This makes them surprisingly dangerous. In Africa, hippos are considered one of the most dangerous animals, not because they're aggressive by nature, but because they're territorial, unpredictable, and incredibly strong. Stories from river guides and villagers are filled with warnings: respect the hippo's space, don't get between a mother and her calf, don't block their path to water. Boats have been capsized by charging hippos. Crocodiles, fearsome in their own right, often give hippos a wide berth. And yet, despite this danger, People also speak of hippos with awe. Their grunts in the night are like lullabies of the African river, their slow surfacing, their soft bellows, their silent drifting. These are the rhythms of the wetlands. Culturally, hippos have played many roles in ancient Egypt. The goddess Taret, protector of women and children, was often depicted with the head and body of a hippo. In folktales, hippos are tricksters, guardians, or misunderstood giants. Today, children know them from cartoons, storybooks, and even songs about hippos for Christmas. In zoos, people crowd to watch them yawn, swim, or nuzzle their calves. And in documentaries, we see them bathed in golden light, half submerged like statues of the wild. One young hippo named Fiona, born prematurely at the Cincinnati Zoo in 2017, captured hearts around the world. Weighing just 29 pounds at birth, far below normal, she faced overwhelming odds. But thanks to around-the-clock care, she survived, and thrived. Videos of her first swim, her wobbly walks, and her playful personality went viral. Fiona became a symbol of resilience, and people followed her story like a global soap opera. She reminded us that even the heaviest among us can be lighthearted, and even the wildest beast can bring comfort. Yet, like many large animals, hippos face challenges, habitat loss, pollution, and conflict with humans threaten their future. In some regions, hippos are hunted for meat and ivory like teeth. In others, they are seen as pests for destroying crops or threatening people. As human populations expand and climate patterns shift, rivers shrink and tensions grow. Protecting hippos means protecting wetlands, ecosystems that support not only wildlife but entire communities. And the conservationists, scientists, and local leaders are working together. They study hippo behavior, monitor populations, and educate the public. Sanctuaries and protected reserves offer safe havens. And perhaps most importantly, people are learning to see the hippo not just as a threat, but as a keystone species, one whose presence helps shape the environment around it. For, in many ways, the hippo is more than muscle and might. It is a creature of stillness, of mystery, of ancient rhythm. When a pod floats silently beneath a full moon, or a baby hippo rests its head against its mother's side, there's a quiet beauty that words can't fully capture. The hippo reminds us that not all power needs to be loud, that sometimes the most impressive beings are the ones who rise slowly, breathe deep, and move like shadows through the water. So here's to the hippopotamus, the river's guardian, the heavyweight of grace, the unlikely poet of the wetlands. In their snorts, we hear the ancient language of the earth. In their stillness, we see a world that moves at its own pace. And in their strength, we find a reminder that might does not always roar, sometimes it just floats.
you.